Welcome back to Pathways to Wealth. I'm your host, Chris Dunn, and in this episode, we're talking about 15 ways that you can generate passive income. So if you've been following along with us in the previous episodes, you know that this show is really all about three things. It's about helping you discover new and time-tested pathways for creating more income, building wealth, and really upgrading all areas of your life, from education to your mindset to your health. And really, in this episode, I want to focus on one of the most important things for most people to meet their immediate needs, which is what? Income. And there's really two different ways to earn income. You have what's called earned income, or what I like to call hustle income, where you either exchange time for money or you do something to generate cash. It could be consulting, it could be operating a business, but where you're actually putting time and effort in to earn income today or in the near future. What passive income is where you either build up an asset or you create some kind of system that pays you over time. It could be every day, it could be every week, or it could be on a monthly basis. But the idea is to generate multiple sources of passive income. That way, if you stack up multiple levels of income, by the end of the year or a month or a week, you could significantly increase what you're already earning. So why even focus on generating passive income? And is it possible? There's a lot of stuff out there that talks about, hey, just set up a business, run it on autopilot, and then go retire on a beach somewhere. But the reality is that it takes a tremendous amount of work to get to that level. It's not one of those get rich quick things where you just buy a business or get into like some cheesy MLM company and then make $1 million without doing much. Generating passive income takes a lot of work, but the reason why it's worth it is because it pays you for the future. So time invested today pays off maybe tomorrow, maybe a week from now, or maybe next year. But again, the idea is just to build up multiple sources of income. That way you're not relying on any single source. So like, for example, if you have a job and let's say you get fired or your company goes out of business, which a lot of people have experienced in the past 5 to 10 years, then your income is dead and you are now in a very sticky situation where you either need to go into debt or work really hard just to replace what you have. So my philosophy on life is that you should have no less than 5 sources of income. That way, if any one of them goes down, all things being equal, you're only going to lose momentarily maybe 20% of your income. Okay, so there's actually 2 ways to generate passive income. Okay, so the first way is investing. If you already have capital, if you have cash, then you can invest and basically make that cash work for you, make that cash pay you a salary. The other is hustle passive income, where you basically put in time and energy to maybe generate money now, but with the goal of building something, building an asset that's going to pay you over the long run. So let's just talk about a couple like simple investment types of passive income. The first being stock dividends. So you can invest in stocks that pay you out a dividend, which is a check that you get every quarter or so that basically gives you a small amount and you can rely on that over time. Now, that is still risky because you're investing in a stock, which the price can go up or down. But in a later episode, we'll dive into like the depths of how to actually invest in dividend stocks. But that's really just kind of a very simple way that if you have capital, you can invest without much knowledge or hustle. The second is a real estate investment trust, or a REIT. And if you don't want to go out and actually do the business of real estate, you can passively invest through a REIT. Now, the nice thing about that is, again, you get to take advantage of the real estate market, but there are some significant risks with that as well. The third thing is actually doing what's called peer-to-peer lending. Now, this is something that's become really hot over the past few years, and there's sites like Lending Club and others prosper that you basically make micro loans, or you can actually make significant loans if you want, to peers who you qualify based on specific criteria. Now, one thing we'll do in the near future is I'll show you some case studies of how I've done this and how you can like mitigate risk, because it sounds really risky, right? Like lending to people for different reasons. But if you hedge your portfolio, if you diversify, and if you set it up right, there's actually been stats that show consistent returns of anywhere from 5 to 9%. So if you have capital, this isn't a high growth thing, but it can pay you regular, nice income. And the next level is kind of, where you also need capital, but where you put in a little bit of work as well. And one of my favorites is rental income from single family properties and also apartment complexes. So as you saw in the last episode where we interviewed Rick Gossett, we talked about the different ways to generate income and build wealth in real estate. And rental income is just a great way to do that. Now, we don't typically invest just like a typical cookie cutter investor would when you think about real estate. I like to get creative because the more creative you can get and the more knowledgeable you are about real estate, the higher your returns can be. So in the episode, we talked about where the average investor might look for a 7 to 8% return through rentals. We look for a minimum of double that, somewhere around 15%. And the only way that you're going to achieve that is if you understand the business. But that's why I'm a huge fan of real estate. And that's why in a lot of these episodes, we're going to be focusing on different ways to generate rental income. The next is self-storage units. You've probably seen on the side of the highways, extra space to store your crap. And Americans have a lot of extra junk and not enough room. So instead of purging and getting lean, what they do is they say, well, let's just go get more space and throw our junk in it. And that is a huge booming business. And one really big benefit to that is the rental price per square foot of a rental unit is typically on par with what it costs to rent an average apartment or an average house in a market. So a lot of people don't know this, but they're actually just adding square footage to hold all of the crap that they don't really want. But again, it's a great business. So, if say the average rental house in your market goes for $1 a square foot, so a 1,500 square foot house is $1,500 a month, a rental unit could be close to that same price. So just keep that in mind. That's a really good business to be in. The next level of kind of the real estate niche is mobile home parks. And as you saw in episode 3, John Fedro just bought, I think, a 110 unit mobile home park, and he's done several hundred units individually around the nation. But one thing with mobile home parks is you get to leverage your management resources. So instead of owning 110 houses in different neighborhoods, if you have all 110 units on one plot of land, you really only need maybe 1 or 2 managers to manage that whole thing, and overhead costs are dramatically lower. And as you guys saw in episode 3 with John, the returns on mobile homes, even though they're not the sexiest market, are massive. So go back and watch that episode if you haven't seen it. So number 7 is where you actually invest as a silent partner. This is something that I'm doing quite a bit of in the angel investing space. So I'm investing in early stage tech startups. You could also invest in bars, restaurants, any kind of service or brick and mortar business as a passive investor. Now, blogging is another great way to earn passive income. If you set up a blog where you have regular visitors that are clicking on either affiliate links or your products and services or ad revenue, that's a great way to get a daily, weekly, or monthly paycheck. And I'm a huge fan of affiliate marketing because I can make anywhere from $50,000 in a month to $200,000 in a month, depending on the promotion. And sometimes you'll have a one and done, like big launch. Other times you can set up what's called an evergreen promotion where you make money on a daily basis. The thing with affiliate marketing is as long as you can drive the traffic, you don't have to do fulfillment. So when I've promoted other people's products, either in the education space or the finance realm, the nice thing is if you have the list, all you need to do is drive the traffic, and you don't have the overhead cost of fulfillment, of customer service, of coaching, of whatever the product is. And then kind of another niche of the online realm is niche websites. You could create websites that market and provide products and services to smaller niches. It could be hobbies. It could be very niche down real estate markets, like, how to run a flea market or how to run a dog cleaning business, right? There's like endless opportunities with small niche business websites. And if you create a network of those over time, as they grow, can stack up and become a pretty significant income source. So drop shipping and physical products is another great way to earn passive income. You can basically improve products or drop ship products. And what that means is it's e-commerce with less of a headache. So instead of setting up your own store and seeing the transaction from manufacturing to customer delivery, you can just do a small piece of that. So for example, a partner and I are currently working on a product that we think has an international massive reach and the potential to transform the way people do a consumer behavior. So I'm not going to give away too much information until the product goes to market, but what you want to look for is either an improvement on an existing product that is really hot, or change the way that consumers or people do certain behaviors. It could be the way that they wash their car. It could be the way that they walk their dog. Think about what you do in your daily life and what's kind of a pain, what takes too long, what's kind of a hassle. If you think about like Airbnb and Uber, those are like service-based businesses that solve problems like that. But also on the physical side, if you think of pretty much any infomercial product, anything that's been on QVC or late night infomercials, those are products that change human or consumer behavior. Even if it's something, how to clean something a little bit better, if it's demonstratable, if it looks really cool, and if it looks like it can save a lot of time and money over the long run, then you might have something there. And then shifting back to the online space, online courses. This kind of goes hand in hand with blogging. And we talked about this in one of the earlier episodes, 7 ways to make money online. And online courses is a great way that if you set it up on autopilot where you have traffic and sales coming in every day or every week, that is a really great source of income. And I have about a half dozen to a dozen different niches and sites geared towards creating passive income through online courses. And kind of a subset of that is ebooks. So a lot of people like to lead into bigger products with either physical books or ebooks. So if you have the skill of writing, or if you know how to hire writers, one of the things you can do is create books that when you set up, they just sell on autopilot. And number 14 is selling stock photos. So if you're a photographer, one thing that you could do, especially if you like to travel, is actually make recurring revenue off of your photos. You could sell them to iStock Photos, Shutterstock, and basically get a fee or a royalty every time somebody buys your photo. And this is something that I'm going to do as a case study to show you guys, because last year my wife and I traveled to well over 60 countries around the world and took our DSLR and camera gear and got some amazing shots at a lot of the world wonders and the most beautiful places in the world. And I'm going to show you how to actually make money and use that as a case study. And then kind of the final thing is get creative. Look at if you have a spare bedroom that you can rent out on Airbnb or anything with the sharing economy. If you're saying, well, Chris, all this stuff sounds good, but I don't have a lot of capital. I don't have, massive marketing skill sets yet, but I'm working on them. Maybe you have something that you can actually contribute to the sharing economy that can help generate extra income. Because as we talked about in, the How to Pay Off Debt Fast episode, it's really important that you put all of your extra income towards paying down debt so you can then shift that back into growing businesses and earning more income streams. So with that said, guys, go out there, bust ass, make some passive income, and report back to me what you're doing. I love hearing stories and ideas that you guys have. So connect with me on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Everything is at Chris Dunn TV. So thank you guys for watching this episode. I hope you're excited for the next episode. We have some incredible lessons and incredible interviews from entrepreneurs, innovators, and investors coming up. So take care. I will see you in the next episode.